All right, we're live. Welcome, Bob Bruder from Solar Solutions Distribution out
Yes,
of
sir.
Arkansas.
Yes, Arkansas.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for joining.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so I want to. I'm going to start with a quick question. Do you have a fan on in the background or the AC?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay. I don't know. I hear a humming noise, but it's not a big deal. I'm just curious. All right. So, doesn't matter. Today, what I'm really excited to share with everybody is a new project that you're launching this Tuesday. It's going to be a new live stream. It's a podcast. It's for window tinters, for the window film industry. And we're going to get into that. But where we should start maybe is going to be, or maybe could be, who you are, where you started. You were in the industry before I was born. So why don't we start back then?
Oh my gosh, that was a long time ago. 1981. Yes. I've been tinting windows a long time. I remember hearing a knock on the door when I was just got out of college, and I answered the door, and it was my landlord. He said, "Do you have the rent?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Do you have a job?" I said, "No." He says, "Well, get dressed. You're going to work." I've been tinting windows ever since. You know,
Yeah. Isn't that
it's been
funny?
a fun.
Like it seems like window tinting enters people's lives in these unique, like at a chance nowhere. Like if he didn't do that, you'd probably never have even like been on your radar, right?
Right. It's kind of like Denny's. You don't go to Denny's, you end up at Denny's, you know?
And what do you think that? Do you think what do you think that is, or how do you think that changed at least since then, or do you think it's changed since then?
I do. The industry's come along, and I know that people are seeing other successes from maybe younger people are seeing successes from people they look up to, and they're seeing window film as a viable, living an industry.
Hmm.
Um, so that's exciting, you know, it is.
Yeah, and also I think some of the cross pollination that's going on from the detail industry, from the paint protection, kind of window tinting. As window tinters pick up PPF, PPF installers pick up window tint. It goes both ways, and that's a whole new introduction into the industry. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Adding product lines to your offering, I mean, that's huge. From like you say, detailing and PPF, but even in flat glass blinds, companies are adding it, you know,
Right.
on and on. Yeah. Adding a product line is a good diversification to income, and a whole nother pool of draw to your database,
Yeah.
that you can cross promote to. Yeah.
So, all right, you started off on that lucky day, and then
Yeah.
since then, you went from being a tinting for that gentleman to eventually owning your own business to eventually owning your own business and distribution hub. Yeah,
Yes. Uh-huh. That's right.
take us
Yeah.
through the broad strokes.
Pardon me?
Take us through the broad strokes of how that went down.
Yeah. So I worked for Armor Coat of Southern California back in the 80s. And then, Matico and Armor Coat both started sending me all over to do bigger projects that dealers would sell. And I stopped working for that guy and just became an independent contractor, hired gun, if you will. I thoroughly enjoyed that freedom, maybe a little too much, but I did. Uh, Stayed as an independent for many years. And in 2000, my dad had a stroke here in Arkansas, so I moved here to help take care of him, and um, ended up working for a man named Phil Davis. Phil has passed, but he didn't want to work the business anymore. So I kind of fell into business ownership. He said, "Why don't you buy the business?" And I said, "I don't have any money." And he said, "Well, how about you pay me a little percent?"
Mm-hmm.
And I get a retirement and you get a business.
Yeah.
And so we took it from there, expanded it into flat glass because it was auto only, went back to my roots, and tinting windows. At first, my wife and I tinted the windows, and then we started growing. We brought in auto installer, flat installers, and then about 2.5 years ago, came across an awesome product, Coolview Transitional Films, and it just lit me on fire. Um, I knew it was what the industry was looking for. I remember back in the day when a sales rep came into the shop and said, "Hey, I want you to sell this film. Take a look at it." I said, "Well, okay." And it looked the same to me, and he says, "It's called ceramic." And I said, "Okay, great. How much is it?" He says, "About twice as much." I said, "You're crazy. Get out of here." Well, now everybody knows about ceramic film.
Hmm.
Okay.
Sure.
Sure. Customers are even asking. Well, that's what's going on with transitional film. It's really becoming aware, and we've got customers calling us looking for it now. So that's a neat thing. So at that point, being so in love with that technology, there was an opportunity for distribution in the Midwest, um, and we were lucky enough to be awarded that area.
Hmm.
And so here we are, a retail tint shop in Northwest Arkansas and a distributor for 11 states.
So something that you mentioned, which I thought was interesting, was you said that, you ended up with your own business basically because the person you were working for kind of passed it along to you in essence, like, and you also said that, your first response with, what about you taking over the business or buying the business, was you didn't have any money. Now, there's definitely scenarios where like installers may feel like, well, I don't have any money, but I need to open my own business so I can just kind of make it work. You can pretty much open a tint business with not much money. I mean, you need a little money, but not much money potentially. So what I'm saying is, like, I think it's cool that you ended up at that finish line of, not finish line, but at that benchmark or whatever, owning your own business. But you didn't do it by breaking off and competing on your own. You did it by doing a great job with the place you were working and putting yourself in front of an opportunity, which is an opportunity that there's probably, I bet, I bet off my guess, there's probably at least 15% of the window film industry that is in a stage where they might want to retire, like where it's kind of crossing their head. At least, I mean, it could be like 50%. But
Sure.
like, what do you think?
I've always believed and trained this way. Uh, if you want to do well in life, be the best right hand man you would want. And that's all I did. Okay, that's all I did. And if I wouldn't have taken and ran this business for this gentleman and increased his business, I probably wouldn't have been in the running.
Right.
It's all about doing what's right inside and doing a good job. And let me tell you, the reason I never thought about being a business owner was because I didn't want to sell window film. I didn't want all the responsibilities of, you know, paperwork and being the brains behind the operation. Just give me the glass, I'm gone, you know?
Mm.
Um, so again, that personal stretch, that personal growth was a big part of it as well. And, I guess God's in control because by doing a good job, things show up. And you're right. It wasn't about just open up and compete your way to the top. Now, if that's what touches your heart, get after it.
Yep.
But if it doesn't touch your heart and you want to be a good worker and you
There's
want to
other
be a good
ways.
right hand man, it's going to happen that way too.
Right, because if you make yourself, like you said, the best like right hand person, you're making yourself indispensable. You're making yourself so valuable that there's no way that somebody would want to lose you, and that puts you in the opportunity of potentially being the boss or being the owner. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and what I've done is back myself in the corner because I got a team of them now. You know, of those people you just don't want to let go of.
Yeah.
You know, I love my team. Yeah, they're great.
So you also mentioned personal growth there, that it was an opportunity for growth. And now, like, we you got us up to Coolview, but really what's next is super exciting and is basically unrelated to Coolview, and it's also the definition of growth. It's the definition of another milestone of growth. And what I'm talking about is the podcast that you're launching next week. And
Yeah.
why don't you tell us more about like why you're doing this and so on?
Well, super excited about that. I truly feel you can't coast anyway except downhill. We've all heard that. And even on level ground, you're not going to coast. So if you're going to continue to do good and you have a fire inside you, just keep striving. Um, I wanted to do this podcast, and Eric, as you know, I was thinking about a name for it for a while, and I just wasn't lit up. All the names I came up with, we've changed it 3 times now. But this last name that we came on
Yeah.
was B plus, all things window film. Okay.
Okay.
And that's what it's about. It's about the personal growth. It's about what the industry can give each other. It's about healthy competition. It's not about any one brand. Just so excited about it being a level playing field. As you can tell, I'm proud of Coolview. Okay, there's no doubt about it. It has touched my heart. I think it's great technology.
Yeah.
The films are great. Up all the way to the top is excellent to work with. But this podcast is not going to be about brand specific. If you want to talk about your brand, talk about it, because when it comes out, I'm going to talk about mine.
Hmm.
We're all just here to be uplifters of each other, give back to the industry, grow the new dealers, get that healthy competition so we can all stretch ourselves and be all we can be. And there's nothing worse than window tinting shops not liking each other. Here, no bashing.
Yeah.
Let's just have a good, healthy discussion. And hopefully there'll be nuggets that people can pick up along the way. I'll have awesome people on. I can't wait to. I've been thinking of all kinds of people that I just can't wait to bring on.
So listen, I think I mean, but I want to just tell you, first of all, congratulations. I think you are doing an incredible thing. I'm so impressed because like it's not like you're coming from a generation that is not. It's just look. I believe no matter regardless of age or generation, that technology is there for anybody to learn it and embrace it and so on. But it's also understandable that it's going to be less familiar to you than maybe it is to a younger generation or whatnot. So anyway, the fact that you're going head in with a video podcast, live streaming on Facebook, and it's like you're going all in, you're fully committed, and I love it.
Yeah,
But the other thing is, I mean it when I say like, you're doing like it's a little bit of God's work, and what I mean by that is,
yeah,
like the way I looked at Tint Wisdom was, look, of course, like you said about Coolview, I'm proud about Tint Wiz and so on, and like I definitely want people to use it, I want people to know about it and so on. But
sure.
ultimately, what Tint Wisdom was about and is about is just simply creating a platform that somebody can come on and they can share their voice. Because if not, it's kind of tough to get your voice out there. So if you can go into a group or you can try to get people to be aware of something, but obviously a platform where people join together on a weekly or monthly or whatever basis is going to be maybe a little better to get a voice out. And that's what we're doing now. So you're launching a podcast and you have a place to come announce it. And what I'm simply saying is I feel like I'm not saying like I'm passing a torch, because I'm not passing anything. I have no torch and I have nothing to do with that. But what I'm simply saying is I feel like now you're adding to that. You've added another platform. Now you're going to amplify everyone else's voices on another, level and another vision and so on. And I believe that amplification is what I mean by like God's work, because, like you said, this isn't about dollars. This isn't about, it's all about the money. This isn't about, but I know there's going to be more sales and, for Coolview. It's not about that. I believe that because I've talked to you obviously for the last few weeks about this. And based on your passion and your description of what you're doing a little bit of God's work.
Well, that's exciting to hear. It knows that tells me that maybe my heart's being genuine. Yeah, it is comforting to hear. Yeah. I just know that, well, I've used probably most brands out there and have used them successfully. And there's great products. It's not about any one over another. Um, but I really feel that even from the youngest installer, the youngest dealer, when I see these kids come in and they want to be Coolview dealers,
Mhm.
and I see them on fire, that just lights me up. Adam Casillas right now is tearing it up, y'all. Okay, you keep your eyes open. This kid's going to be somebody, and I see that, and I just get excited for him, and I just can't wait to bring other people together. Hopefully, he can keep hearing because they're asking me questions. Yeah, I have a lot of years and a lot more battle scars. Sure, I have some input, but to give a place for people to plug into that they can come and listen to wisdom that you've got and other people in our industry and even each other, that's what it's about. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and I tell you, if you're not hungry, don't tune in. If you're not hungry, you don't want to grow, that this might not be for you because we're moving forward. We're going to
Yeah.
move forward. We're going to be happy about it.
So why do you say that?
Well, I guess I say it in a way to actually for a person to dig inside and challenge themselves. Okay. Um, I'm a shock value guy. I'm pretty straightforward, pretty confident.
Mm.
And sometimes when you tell somebody you can't do it, maybe they go, I'll show you.
Yeah.
Well, I invite you to come in. Come on. Let's
So
go.
that's your way of lighting under a fire under somebody's ass that maybe wasn't going to tune in. That says, you know what, I should be a part of this, or like, I can show you, or something like that, right?
Well, I certainly didn't mean to say anything wrong, but I
I
can
well,
tell
and
you,
that's the thing. I'm not asking you because
I
it's from
want,
a critical way. I'm asking you because I feel like you have a passion and you actually have a reason behind it, whether it's conscious or not, which you're explaining very well.
yeah, you know, we all had the customer that says, they cross their arms, the husband standing there at the kitchen table when you're showing film, and he says, "You're going to have to convince me." I don't have to convince you of nothing. You have the problem. Let me help you. I'll show you some answers. Well, I'm not here to convince any window tinters to do anything. If they're looking for something and hopefully they find some nuggets here, it's
Hmm.
going to be a great return on their investment of plugging in. It's going to be a great investment into their own future. That's it. I'm just the guy that decided I'm going to put myself out there and get a little uncomfortable with the technology. Angie's awesome. She really helped us get all this set up,
Yep.
but help, put myself out there so I can talk with other winners in the industry. And you know what? We can all grow a little bit. Come on, dig in.
So, okay, first and foremost, what's it called?
B plus, all things window film.
Okay. And it's important that if you want to make sure that you don't miss it, and whether you can do it now or you do it after or whatever it is, you're going to go on Facebook, you're going to type in B plus, and that's BE space PLUS, all things window film. And it's going to bring up a page, and that page is going to say it's a podcast, and it's going to be all window film related. And if you follow that page, then you're going to know every single episode. Now, your first video and every video after that, your first one's going to be this coming Tuesday. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
What time?
Mm-hmm. Same time as this. I've
Okay.
just followed your lead.
Perfect.
I thought
So,
it would cover coast to coast that way.
okay. So, for anybody who watches this later and doesn't know when this is live, it's 4 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. And Bob's show is going to be every Tuesday at that time, which again is 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. And then Tint Wisdom is every Wednesday at that time, but that's not important right now. Bob Show, B plus all things window film on Facebook next Tuesday. Obviously, you're going to watch it live. It's maybe a little more engaging and more entertaining. You'll have comments and so on, but if you don't, you'll watch it after because it'll still be there. But right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. With your guidance, you'll show me how to get all that happening. But yes,
No problem.
yep,
No
yeah.
problem.
I
You've
mean, you're amazing, and thank you for all your help and what you're doing for the industry. My God, right? What a leader! What a giver's heart.
thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate you saying
Tint,
that.
amazing.
You mentioned earlier a couple things. You mentioned kind of like the younger window tinter, and you
Hmm.
also kind of mentioned like not having to convince anyone per se, or like, and yeah, that was in relation to customers. But it, do you feel? I feel like maybe David's brought it up. Maybe it was you and I on the phone. Like I don't know, but I feel like the younger side of the industry and Coolview has kind of had this like it's been brought up a couple. I guess what I'm asking is, do you feel like there's more opportunity? Like when you're looking at dealers, do you get more excited about these younger dealers? It sounds like to me than some of the maybe bigger or longer standing dealers. Or no, I don't know. I'm
Well,
asking. I never
quick
want to
answer.
lead with my questions. I'm just asking. I'm curious.
Yeah, quick answers. Yeah. Um, when I first became a distributor, I thought, oh, I want all the big dogs. But they're really set in what they're doing. They've got teams of sales reps that they got to train. And the messaging from the top down doesn't necessarily come across as clear. And their transition into uh, new technologies might take a little longer. David Carley, he's an absolute beast to our brand, and he's someone that I really look up to as an individual. And he's he's the one that plowed the way for this brand. When Coolview came on the scene, he was all by himself, no other dealers, and he introduced it across the eastern side of the country, and he did a great job and brought dealers on and gave us something that we could take to new people. He told me, he said, Bob, go for the number two. Go for number two in each market. That's where you have a young dealer. They're excited. They're ready to grow. Be a market leader. That's what we're looking for. Sure, I'd love the biggest dealers. Okay, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's going to help. It's about the customer, really. The
Hmm.
biggest dealers have the biggest pool of customers. More customers will have this film. But I like engaging with people that are on fire, that are working, that are striving, that are growing, that are challenging themselves.
So, man, so much there. That's good. That's great info. So, okay, first and foremost, I think it should be okay. A couple things. I almost don't want to. I'm writing tallies in my head for this. So, I'm really glad you just said all that because I think it needs to be heard because I think there's a lot of dealers out there that are smaller dealers. Maybe they're just getting started and so on. And maybe they feel like the underdog. Maybe they feel like the little guy, the nobody in the industry. And a lot of times they don't realize how much they have going for them. And if they get out
Mhm.
of their own way, they're ready to go and they actually have competitive advantage because the next thing is as a business grows and it ages, new challenges come its way that I think are just part of every business that gets old and ages. And what I mean by that, it's kind of you see it in yourself. I think yourself, myself, like you see it as a person, like you get tendencies, like you said, you get calluses, you get insensitive to certain things, maybe oversensitive to others. Like things start to shift in a direction. And like you said, you have big staff potentially. That means you have layers and you have momentum. And there's all these things that you know, it's almost like they're their own challenge as you get bigger as a company to manage those because if not, that's the life cycle of companies. You usually see they grow, then they grow big, 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 but then there's kind of this fall off. They don't grow big endlessly. There becomes this plateau, there becomes this part where now it's like the new guys kind of coming for them and they're now coming down. And what I'm just simply saying is knowing that there's a person like you, Bob. There's a person like David Carley. There's Coolview. There's people beyond just you two with that perspective. I think that's could be a life-changing thing for somebody and how they look at their business and how they move along in their path.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. You know, it's it's about if we're striving every day, it doesn't matter the destination. What matters is the journey, and those are just typical words we all hear. But if I died tomorrow, I know I was smiling and striving all day today. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I could be content that I gave it my all. And, you know, that is an inner fulfillment
Right.
right there that, you know what? I don't have to be a Warren Buffett or a Donald Trump in finances. You know, I just got to get to the end and be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, uh, our personal journey, whatever it's going to be for self, if it's moving forward and doing better for our family and seeking out good things, that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, window film is just our vehicle. Okay, it's what we're used to doing, and now we get to be all we can be, or should I say, B plus, and that's where the name came from. Just B plus. Okay, we don't have to be an A plus. What if we're sick? A regular grading system is going to be on a scale of 1 to 10, and okay, well, I only got a 7 that day. Yeah, but you felt like a 6. You strived, you did it, you killed it. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Strive. B, you know, B plus.
I don't think anybody could argue that there's an internal best feeling when you are able to affect somebody in a positive way, when you make somebody happy, when you really help somebody out. Like everybody knows that. And I think sometimes maybe sometimes people aren't that good at doing that, even if they know it's good, but sometimes maybe a little ego gets in the way, maybe a little like it's not the cool thing to do, or I don't know. But I guess what I'm saying is I feel like as it's talked about, as the community becomes closer, as more people like you are out there and share this information, that um, it becomes more of a clear way of like how you can help people and how you can have a positive impact. Because I think there's a lot of people in this industry that will say, I want to give back. I want to help. I want to do more than just what I'm doing. I want to like affect big change and so on. But then it becomes, well, how do I do that? And sometimes the thought is, well, I'll travel around, and traveling around is expensive and inefficient and so on. And then you're like, well, maybe I'll make videos. And then that seems like, and the process goes through. Here's an example. You started a podcast. Didn't take much. What did you do? You said, tell me what I need. Honestly, you had everything you need. But since you were so open to it, I told you to buy a computer. And you were like, no problem. And I did that only because I know you'll have a better experience and it'll go better because you're so open to it. But my point is, nothing stood in your way. I want to be out there. I want to help. How do I do it? And you're done. You're there. It's a week later, 2 weeks later. And that's it.
To the people that don't know what to do, or they're a little nervous about doing it, you know, just pick your sliver. Pick your lane. Be you.
Be you.
Do
Right.
whatever it is. Do whatever it is.
Right.
You know, the first two names I had for this podcast, I was nervous because I had to all about tint. I don't want to talk about tint. I want to talk
Right.
about what drives you, what you're doing about your business and your life, and it happens to be in your window film business. That's the common thread we all have. Now it's about, you know, be all you can be. Okay. And that's where we're going to find it. So get in your lane, do good. Hey, look, I hope my hair isn't messed up. Is it, Eric? You know, if a fat old man like me, okay, can get on a podcast, you know, half these young model looking guys that are tearing it up, okay, they can do something to give back to.
Are you
And
talking about Rick Tallman? Who are you talking about? Mike Burke?
yeah.
Who are we talking about? When you say model looking guy, name him. I want a name.
Hey,
Who do you have in mind?
hey, I tell you what, a couple of guys that are tearing it up. I mean, what about that Texas tint? And are they doing a tint off? Is that what's going on? Is there a challenge over
So
there?
something along that lines. Sorry.
No, I've just
And
caught a little bit of
and
it,
I
but
want to
man,
make a side note, and I just want to make sure we don't forget. So I'm just asking you, and then
yeah,
let's not forget. I want to mention, or can I put it on hold real quick? I want to mention something because I don't want to forget.
yeah.
Window Film Revolution. Cool View's part of Window
Mm.
Film Revolution, and when we talk about people coming together and improving the industry, I mean,
Oh,
it is a Window Film Revolution. Like that's the title of that thought, and like you have now basically almost not every film brand, but a bazillion film brands. Very good industry representation across brands and competing brands and tool companies and film manufacturers and so on, all together in there. And it's the most pleasant, like, not, I'm not saying like the most pleasant, but like it's like super, super freaking pleasant to post in there. It's a community feel. You're not going to get your ass kicked in there for asking a question. And now you guys are a part of that. And that's awesome. It's awesome for a lot of reasons because it adds to that like melting pot or whatever it is.
I tell you, the flair I feel every time I engage on that on their podcast, or excuse me, their Facebook and all that. It's everybody in there's uplifting. Okay, I've heard a lot of the same questions over and over, but you know what? That guy didn't think to listen for that answer before, so he had to ask it again, and everybody's supportive. You know, that's what I
Yep.
love. And when there's not something positive, they give it a shot and they ignore it. If somebody's going to stick their head out again a little bit longer,
Yeah.
they might little mention, but you know what? They're not even here to slap you down. Rick is the bomb.
Yeah.
Haas, these guys are tearing it up.
Yeah.
Okay, they're giving back in a way bigger way than I am. That's for sure. Or that I'm starting to try. But these guys are leading you. You know, when from pros. I mean, these are sites that
Patrick. Yep.
excite me. You know, they excite me to see the give back in it. I don't want to say a non-branded way. It's in every branded way. It's the industry. We're all brothers in the industry. That's
Right.
it.
And sisters.
And sisters. Yes. Yes. Man, there's some great window tinters out there that are female.
So
My
the
wife tints 1,000 cars a year, y'all. Mm-hmm.
right,
Yeah.
and I know you know that, and you've mentioned Angie, and I know, and
Oh,
the reason I say it is because it's very typical that in wording, it's easier to say like brotherhood or like
yeah.
guy, like us guys or something like that. But at the end of the day, you know, that little bit of wording really is, I think, important, especially like in our industry, to be inclusive because you know it's the look, it's the same reason why Window Film Revolution and Window Film Pros and some of the other groups why they are so successful, especially now. And what I'm getting at is, you know, here's the thing. I think it's fun to be funny, right? Like I think being
Yeah.
funny is like great. But and like if you ask a question and I think I can make a joke about your question, you know, hey, I'm trying to make you laugh, man, and I'm gonna make my friends laugh too with it. The
Yeah.
problem is through words on the internet, I can also upset you, and I can also make somebody else never ask the question, and so on. And the problem is, I could say, "Well, man, can't you take a joke, man?" Yeah, you know what? I bet you can take a joke, but sometimes it's not clear when it's a joke, when it's not. Sometimes it's just the wrong day. And then that leads to something else that was way beyond a joke. And now it's hard to forgive and all these things. And the point being is everybody kind of has to understand, you know, we're in a group online, we're operating through only typed words, which only, it doesn't carry emotion and empathy and sympathy. It's only the typed words. It's open to interpretation. So what I'm simply saying is it is important that we choose our words wisely, not because you can't take a joke, but simply because it's going to be better for the community if we can all kind of keep that in mind so that we don't, you know, step on somebody's toes unintentionally and break their toes and never have them come back and kind of create this vibe where then somebody comes in, they don't think you're joking. They think you're a shit talker. So that's the vibe they start with. And now you have a shit talker and like it you know, it's leading by example. It's like the example and joking is so much fun, but only has its place, I think sometimes, don't you? Or what do you think?
Well, I think that's right. That, you know, typing or emails, it's hard to get that right feel out there. And when you joke, um, sometimes you wonder, oops.
Yeah.
especially when there's no reply, right? You go, uh-oh, did I upset him?
Uh-oh. Yep.
None of that was intended. None of that,
No.
necessarily. So yeah, being aware of what we're
Yeah.
doing could have an effect on someone else.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's what's great about video, and why you're doing it on video is because video gives a chance to, hey, we can make a joke right now, and if my joke falls flat, I can say, Bob, I'm sorry, that sucked. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that,
And
or
I'll laugh
whatever.
at it.
But you know what I mean. So, you
Yeah.
mentioned Carlos before I went on that window film revolution, but thank you, Rick. Thank you for everybody that's a part
Oh
of it,
my
every
gosh.
member, every sponsor, everybody who does anything, even if you just watch. Thank you. You mentioned Carlos and Texas Tint Master. Is that who you were thinking about when you mentioned the model young
Oh
men?
yeah, it was, man. They're doing great things over there too. They're just having fun with it, you
They
know.
are.
I can't wait to see how all that works out.
So David Carley from you know who Dave. I'm saying from Cool View for the other people if they're not sure.
Yeah.
David Carley had mentioned maybe, I guess there's going to be a tint off. It's going to be between like Dave Dillinger, Dean Mitchell versus Jason and Carlos, and maybe there was going to be some potential involvement with, I don't know, like David Carley, maybe some dealers. I don't know if you have thought about it. Is this something like? I know you said it's fun. Is it fun enough for you to dive in the ring?
Oh, I'll tint. You bet. I'll jump in there. I'll tint side by side with David. Or is that what you're getting
I don't
at?
know.
I
I'm
mean,
just
this is the first
asking.
I've
I'm just
heard of this.
asking what could be, because Carlos is, I guess, in the comments, and I know you can't see the comments. You shouldn't, because yeah, but I'll read some of them. He was saying, I don't even know what he's talking about. He's he said, I don't know. You're gonna have a problem. I'm just trying to read. Carlos, he worried about the Dean and Dave. I guess they're just going back and forth in the comments.
Yeah.
And anyway, you're right. It is all fun with them, and I think there could be an opportunity. I feel like I remember, like in Dean might have mentioned, or it came up as far as it potentially having some sort of charity offshoot this event, and I feel like that would be freaking awesome to have a charity to benefit from. What's going to be a great entertainment competition, and like involvement from a lot of different manufacturers.
Yeah. Well, hey, count us in. If that's what Carly wants to do, then we'll do it. I don't know. I haven't had a squeegee in my hand for a few years, but I tell you what, I've enjoyed it when I was there.
Oh,
I've enjoyed it when I was there. I'll put the hurts to somebody.
Carlos said all this talk in the comments, the courage behind the keyboards, and now no one is stepping in. Watch this. So you're the rusty squeegee then? No,
All right.
no, I don't know.
All
I'm just
right.
kidding.
That's what I'll be.
What's
Hey,
what?
Are we on? Are we
we're
on?
on.
How did you
We're
do that?
on.
What? You know what?
What?
Eric Devash, I've been telling you and I've been watching. I'm sick and tired of all the comments that are coming down to the Texas Squeegee. Everybody's leaving their comments and people are making their videos just like Mean Machine Dean Mitchell. So I got a few message for Mean
How did
Machine
you
Dean
do
Mitchell because
that?
you know what?
Hey, are you
So
with
it doesn't
Bob?
matter who. Excuse me.
Are you with Bob right
It
now?
doesn't matter who I'm with because you know what? This is now it's not the
What the
Tint
fuck
Wisdom
is going
anymore.
on?
This is now my show. This is called Smack Talk, and the first guest on this show is Dean Mitchell. As a matter of fact,
What are you doing?
I'm sick and tired of going with the back and forth. So Mean Machine Dean Mitchell, get your ass on the show because the Texas Squeegee's got a few words he's gonna say to you, and I don't care if I've got to sit here and be here all day.
You gotta go. Hey, are you going to? How did you? What the fuck? What's going on, man? What are you doing?
Love it.
You
Love
guys
it.
don't know that there is a new tinter on the block. It's the Texas Squeegee.
Oh, I
And
get you.
whether it's your show or whether it's another podcast, the Texas Squeegee is not leaving because
All right, I think I got him out of there. I don't know how the fuck he just did that. I don't know what the fuck just went on. All right. Thanks, Carlos.
Oh, that was awesome.
I was just all right. So I guess I don't know.
It's
I don't.
on.
We'll go from here. We're back. I think he's.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I don't even know. That just leaves me a little. I don't know where to go from there. um. So I guess I don't know. That's going to go on in Texas. I guess you guys are going to have to fly out from Arkansas and North Carolina.
So that's what it was.
I don't know what that was.
No,
It's
it sounded like he was hey, I thought it was awesome though. I love his energy.
He's
Love
definitely
his
high
energy.
energy. Definitely high energy, Carlos.
Yeah.
Um. All right. So let's see. Do you have your first guest for next week's podcast?
No.
Okay.
No.
Good example how the questions aren't staged.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep. Yeah. Hey, it was a man, there's a lot of people that, I'm flooded with, who I want to bring in. Okay. And then the first thing was to get prepared. Okay. And I haven't reached out yet, but I have a good list going of who I want to bring in.
so the reason I mean, part of the reason I ask, I guess it could be for this coming Tuesday. This is going to be an every Tuesday thing moving forward, right?
Yes,
So you're going to need a
yes,
lot of guests. So
yes.
if anybody listening wants to be a guest, they should reach out because that position's available and right, and you're open to everybody,
Yeah.
right?
New dealers, old dealers. I don't care who it is window film related, and hopefully they have about as much energy as Texas Tint. Okay.
Right.
Come
Um,
on, let's talk.
I got a
Yeah.
I
Let's
got
have fun.
a bone to pick with Carlos. So okay, so anybody who wants to be on there, they should reach out to you through the page or through your Facebook or whatever. But what I wanted to touch on was today's probably what the first live stream you've ever done, is it? Or I don't know.
Ever.
Ever. Okay. So what challenge you're going to run into is that when people you're like, hey, you want to be a guest, people are going to be like, what are we going to talk about? Or they're going to say, I don't know if I'm going to be good on camera. And I kind of wanted you to do maybe a little honest feedback because you had some build up to this. It's not only something
Yep.
you did for today, but something that you've committed to do for the rest of eternity every Tuesday. So I want your honest feedback because you're 42 minutes into your first live stream. You're on camera. Is it as difficult as you maybe thought it was? Is it worse? What do you think?
It's funner than I thought it was. But I was nervous. I was nervous when I thought, oh, I have to talk about this or talk about that. No, just what I'm finding is just get on, be you, and talk, and we have a common thread, so that's helpful. It really is. Um, Step out of your comfort zone. Come on, we can be nervous together. Let's do this.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
You've been in the industry long enough to know, and I don't care if you're the newest kid on the block, you've been in the industry long enough, we can talk for a while. All right. If a fat old man, can get on here at 57 years old and have fun with this, let's do it. You know, I'm telling you, it's don't be nervous. Just come on and talk. That's it. And if you can't talk, I'll help you. Just like Eric's doing for me.
I mean, it's just it's important for everybody to understand like there's no barrier. So if you don't want to
No.
do it, you definitely shouldn't do it. You should only do it if you want to do it. But if you want to do it, then you should 100% just do it and you should start now and just do it and commit. And if it sucks and it's grainy, that's cool because that's how you practice. Because if you never tinted a window until you were ready to do it perfectly, you'd never tint a window.
That's right.
So like it's just I'm just saying that because it's something I feel like everybody can relate to. You know you have to have some throwaways. You have to practice. You have to do it. But the key is continuing with it. Some people come more natural than others. It looks easy if you look at somebody who's been doing it for a while, but everybody learns the same way and starts somewhere and ends up somewhere and basically have the same inhibitions and holdbacks. And I mean everybody feels the same way about it.
Conquer those inner demons. You don't have to be great to start. You just have to start to be great. And no matter where that North Star leads you, just go in that direction. If you're challenging yourself and you're becoming, that's all that matters. Just whatever you're gonna do it. Just do it. Just do it. What do the winners do? As Art Williams will tell you, they just do it and they do it and they do it until the job gets done. So come on, be a guest on anybody's show. Stretch yourself. Further the industry. Trust me, there's plenty of people. I get nuggets out of the youngest dealers and some of the newest questions. I forgot to be scared about, how do we pay rent this month when you're wanting me to buy film and I got to practice. Great, let me send you some old junk film that I've had. You forget about these things, and so anything that you want to talk about and it's film related, hey, we're in. If I can do it, you can do it.
The dealers that buy film from you, how much Bob access do they get? So do you go visit dealers in person like pre-COVID? Do you call them? Like what's the Bob experience?
Well, I hate to admit they're even getting some of Bob after COVID. I mean, I still go out. We just made a run through Texas, and that was a lot of fun. But as much exposure to me. So we've got a great team, Angie and Courtney. I mean, they are our front line on the phones. They receive phone calls. They make phone calls. They reach out to dealers, see how they're doing. What can we do for you? And then anytime that there's any question at all, come to me with questions. We're a small office, so we all hear the stories. And I want to talk to the dealers as often as they'll make time. Okay. I understand we get busy, but if you've got 10 minutes that you want to reach out, make sure you got that 10 minutes. Okay. When I drop into shops and they say I can't talk right now, I can respect it because they're busy. But you know what? This 10 minutes could have made you more than that pair of doors. And that pair of doors isn't going anywhere.
That's very accurate. I think what's something I try to like, it's just one of those things that floats through my mind on a weekly basis is how it's almost like if you want to pick up good information, it's like what you're doing is filtering. It's like you're siphoning because good and bad information is coming to you from nonstop, like even from the same person. Some things are great information. Some things can be followed right after the worst information. And it's your job to sort it. And knowing that your job is to sort it, but you never know when it's almost like so it's like if we were going through let's say we were mining and we were going through the dirt and that, okay, there's a lot of dirt coming through, a lot of bullshit coming through and but then sometimes there's going to be nuggets of gold. And sometimes when it's like the muddiest, shittiest dirt, there might be like a diamond in there even. So if you simply say, I can turn around now to drink a Gatorade while that mud flows down because I know it's so muddy, and you don't see that, hey, I could have learned something there. There was actually a diamond in there. And what I'm trying to say is you really can pick up the most valuable, life-changing stuff from anybody and probably anywhere, but you can also pick up shit. And the point is, I think what happens is, if somebody was exposed to having an annoying rep, maybe a rep that sole purpose is to tell you that your sales have not improved as much as their expectation has been, or, what we feel in your area is we need more penetration this year than last. And these things, I'm just saying, nothing wrong with those conversations. But if that's kind of the vibe I get when I hear from you, I'm going to be like, I don't have time for you. But on the flip side, if you feel like, man, every time I talk to so-and-so, it's like life-changing, you're going to close your business down and go to a multi-day event to hear from that person because it would be that worth it. And I think part of that is you being able to penetrate those dealers' calluses from whatever their expectation or experiences are, and coming back around. I think this podcast you're doing is going to help that because people will be able to hear from you and, understand what there is to be gained without you just being the guy who called them on a Tuesday afternoon to set up an appointment, or I don't know.
Yeah, to sell them film. Yeah, no. Yeah, it's about breaking barriers, and sometimes we need help doing that. And that's why I got so bold in there and saying, hey, uh, if you're going to schedule a little time, take that time. And we can talk about film purchase if you want, or we can talk about what I'd really rather talk about is, overall some ideas you're having about marketing or about how you're going to go about some leads or how you can dress up your lobby and make it look better so your Mrs. Jones is more apt to leave more Mercedes with you. Those are the things I think that'll help long run. And that if we don't give it time, those nuggets won't necessarily fall out. We're
Right.
all just, doing our own thing.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. That's what I
yeah.
like about the long form too, about this kind of thing. And that's why I try not to like come up with questions, is because while the thought is, well, questions are going to keep you on track, who says I want to be on track? I want to go off track. I want to see where we can explore down the woods where we haven't been. And that only comes after some time. It doesn't come minute 5. It only can come after minute 40 or minute hour, minute 90 or whatever.
Yeah, give it the opportunity to resonate and get along and do better. Yeah, yeah. Well, you're a master at this, and I was kind of really looking forward to your guidance in this podcast, and you gave none. You're right, no questions. Ahead of time, you're like, no, Bob. If we talk much ahead of time, what do we have to talk about on the show? You know, and that's what made it fun for me.
Right.
That's where my comfort zone came. That's when I said, okay, I can do this.
Right.
I've talked to you for hours before. It's like, okay, this is easy, you know?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're in control. So if there's something you want to do, do it. If there's something you don't want to do, just simply don't do it. You're in control.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
So, okay, at the beginning of tonight's podcast, you mentioned like adding services, like additional services, blinds and maybe like paint protection, ceramic coating, like all these different services that people are adding. And window tinting being a service that's being added to other people's businesses. The same way we add blinds to our businesses, blind companies add window film to their businesses. So you have to always
Okay.
remember that there's two sides to that. Now, again, now if we're like one of the these fundamental things for business that I've been thinking about at least lately is when you mention like adding services, I think it's super important to add services. I think it's super important to add everything. And the way I think about it is like breathing. So like you've got to like inhale and bring in all those other services and bring in all that air, all those experiences and so on. But then I think it's equally important to do this like purge, the exhale in your business, where you cut out all the shit that doesn't have a place in your business.
Right.
So I think
That's
like
right.
it's important to say like, hey, I'm going to try blinds. I'm going to try PPF. Let's see what paint correction's about. Let's see if I like this. Maybe I like to be mobile. Maybe I like to have a shop. But then it's important at some point to do that exhale and cut out the shit and purge. What do you like? You've been in this longer than I've been alive. What do you
What I tell my team is don't start anything that you're not willing to crumple up the piece of paper and throw it away. Okay? Because if it turns out to be a bad decision, you're stuck with it. Okay? We always want to grow. And for me, it's not so much adding unrelated uh, offerings.
complementary, but they seem complementary, but sometimes they can be rather different.
I'm finding the fun in deeper dives. That's where I'm finding my fun. So upping my decorative film game, upping my security film game.
Right.
Okay. Um, a solar control on, exterior windows, interior install, but solar control, it's not as big as it used to be. Okay. So for us, we've got to, dive deeper into security film. And then, of course, then boom, along comes defense light and, complete game changer to window film. Now, security film, definitely has its spot and it really helps. But when you can add that as a complementary uh, product line, then you're still in the same business, but diving deeper.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
that's what I like doing. Hmm.
What do you think about window cleaning for a company that's primarily flat glass? Let's say all flat glass, plenty of flat glass. Do you think window cleaning's a good add-on, not so good add-on? Depends.
That answer lies in the individual. That's the way I see it. Was it picked by me? No. I thought about it over and over. I mean, we're all in front of all this glass, but I didn't want to tackle something that I couldn't do well. Okay. And it's not that we couldn't wash the windows well. I mean, look how clean we get windows for film. It's more that the window cleaning business for me needed to be done right. And
Mhm.
I tint windows. And so that's where I kept my focus. Instead, I've actually partnered with window cleaning companies and we refer each other. Okay. Is that as big of a, benefit to the company as adding that as an additional line? I don't know. But I bet if somebody wanted to bring window cleaning into their fold and really deep dive, I think they could kill it. It seems a natural. Uh, just do it well. If you're going to do it well. And remember, it's not just the squeegee on the glass; it's the business behind it. You know.
So, right. And I think it's what I don't like about it is I don't like about it if somebody goes into window cleaning thinking this is going to be a good add on because I can sell them both. And they don't acknowledge that they're two completely separate businesses. And if you want to run two separate businesses because you'll have a better acquisition from one to the other and from the other to the other, so you have complementary customer acquisition, then I think it's a great idea if you're looking for
Mhm.
a separate business. Now, but the reason I call it a separate business is the thing about window film is you need a very specifically trained person to apply window film, and that person's time is very valuable. So
Mhm.
for me, I want to aim that value to as much of it as possible. So I don't want an installer that could be making, I don't know, making the company $100+ an hour in revenue, doing something that brings in $20+ an hour in revenue. I just simply don't want that.
Right.
And I think that, window cleaning to me is probably going to be a high volume,
Hmm.
repetitive type industry. And
Yeah.
then tinting is low volume in a sense. It could be high volume of low volume, but it's more like one and done. You're coming, and I just feel like as long as you know you're getting into a separate industry that works at separate paces, has different like different, um, because if you're just thinking about the extra money you could have made at that job, you're missing out on the bigger money you could have made doing more window film, I feel like. And that's where that deeper and decorative falls in. Is like, do you want to buy a pressure cleaning machine or do you want to add decorative to your line?
Right. Right. Yeah. That's a no-brainer. Yeah, lot more money in decorative films than washing windows, at least in my mind.
So let me give you another
So,
example. If you're washing windows or you're doing pressure cleaning, what are you going to do? You have to get some sort of trailer. You have to get something to wash the concrete. Then you have to get things for the screens. You've got to get the poles to get up to the windows. And I'm just saying, we're going to get all that. But with all that money, you probably could have got a printer and a laminator.
hmm.
And now you have the same labor doing both jobs at potentially a higher per labor because decorative films command a higher per square foot and per hour job. It's way higher than solar.
Hmm. But if you're going to do it
But if you're
well.
going to
And
do it, you got to go all in, right?
what you're talking about, that's what I feel it would take to do window washing well. I just find the better return, like what you mentioned, to dive deeper into what we do. Hmm. Yeah. And getting better at it so you can ask more money for it. So, the better you do what you do, the more money you can get for it. You sell up. So Yeah, I liked your viewpoint. That's
Well,
true. And that's why I haven't done it.
and Cody said, he said, window cleaning is easy to hire people. Don't take your installers to clean windows, a couple of grand, and you have a whole business. Now, I know that sounds great in theory, and I know Cody's executing on it, so I'm not calling his opinion theory. But what I
Right.
am saying is understand that somebody has to manage those window cleaners. Somebody has to be selling those window cleaner jobs and so on. So if you're a tinter and you're running around from job to job and you say, well, I can add this, that window cleaning crew is going to be at a separate physical location, maybe from where you're at, because sometimes it's not just cleaning windows while you're tinting windows. It's going to be different times, different so on. And then you're a manager as well as maybe owner, operator, installer. And now you start to be torn in different directions. And that's where I think your return on per hour starts to get diluted because there's things you have to do that may not be the best thing for you because you have to deal with it.
Hmm.
Right? So it's not so easy to say, well, I can hire some cheap labor. That labor still needs management. They still need vehicles. They still need payroll. They still need phone calls at 7 p.m. to complain about something. And they still
Hmm.
crack glass. And they do all these things that make you have to be a business owner and know that you're operating a second business in line with your
Yes.
current business.
Yes. Yes. I don't think crossing your film installers over for window washing for an extra couple $100 on a house
Not
or
worth it. And hiring a separate crew is a separate crew of people. If that's so
it's
easy, why not hire
right.
a separate crew of tinters? I'm just saying. I'm just saying that like we all know it's challenging. I know window film or window cleaners are going to be maybe less training than a window tinter. However, I don't know that to be actually true because I think when you go down to operating that equipment, doing a proper job, and making sure that the ins and outs of the homes are taken care of and the commercial jobs are taken care of, I think you've ended up training somebody probably pretty damn well. And I don't think it's so simple like anybody can just clean a window. I think you kind of need to know how to do a good job with it and how to operate the equipment and so on. So I don't know. I'm just saying, do whatever, like you said, do whatever's in your heart, but don't
That's right.
underestimate it, is all.
That, that's right. That's right. That's what it's about. If you're going to do it, do a good job. And I didn't find that there was gonna, heck, it's hard enough to keep enough installers to keep up with workflow sometimes,
Right.
and you're gonna take their time over for something that's less. Now, um, like if Cody's doing it and doing a good job, well, I bet that young man is also taking care of the backside stuff.
Of
And
course.
that's great. Good on him. If that's what lights him up and he wants to keep moving, I bet he'll be a success at it.
And he also has a team. And
See?
he has a team.
Hmm.
So a team automatically adds, a little bit of like, hey, I'm not available, but you are available. It's different than if you don't have a team and you're thinking about it. So it really is. It's always dependent. Like there's always a yin and a yang. It's always a pendulum. There's one opportunity opens up another one and it is what it is. It is whatever you
That's
want it to be.
right. That's right. Yeah.
Are you in the new Tint Wiz community Facebook group?
Yeah.
In the community, I'm just asking. I'm not questioning you. I'm just
No.
saying there's a Facebook group. It's called the Tint Wiz community, and it's a new community. It just started a couple days ago, maybe
Oh,
yesterday, and it's a Facebook
okay.
group.
Let me get my answer. Angie?
I don't think you
Angie.
are. So
We
listen,
call her Radar because, boy, she's on it. So, no, I don't. All right. Sounds like I have not if it's that quick. Are we on the? Oh, here she is. Bless her heart. No, I was just curious. Are we in the new Facebook,
are you?
Tint Wiz community Facebook? Come here. Say hi. Here's
Hey,
Angie.
Angie.
Our Radar. She's awesome. Okay. Are we in the new Tint Wiz community Facebook group? It just started a couple days ago.
I don't think
It
so.
just
We
started
will
like
be.
yesterday. Perfect. So, okay. So what you can do and other people can do that aren't part of it yet is if you're interested in TintWiz to any capacity. So you don't have to be a user. You could be a user. You don't have to be a user. If you're interested in any capacity or interested in learning any way TintWiz could be of any value to you, then join the group. You can do it by searching TintWiz community and it'll come up. Or you can go to the TintWiz page on Facebook and you can look for groups and you'll see TintWiz community. Now, Bob, something I want to talk to you about. And we can kind of get that conversation going now. And this applies for anybody from any window film manufacturer, distribution, anything, is there's opportunity. There's so much opportunity as the community comes together, but specifically with you, Bob, and David Carley and other companies and so on. I think there's opportunity to come in and provide, like, me and you talked about, like, images that could be, and descriptions that could be used by Cool View dealers to better create proposals and so on. And basically, I just wanted to invite you into the group because I think you're going to be able to help support Tint Wiz users that are using Cool View. They can find not only Tint Wiz support in there, but they can find Tint Wiz support as it relates to Cool View in there as
Sure.
well, and other manufacturers and everybody as a community.
Yeah, I think what you're doing there is great. From the different solutions you're offering and the descriptions, and you're making our job so easy. Um, uh, it's exciting. Obviously, I lean on Angie quite a bit to help us with ours, but you know, if you take the time, what we're finding, if you take the time to load pictures and help with the descriptions, either back to Eric so he can show you one or two more times, but then you start building out your Tint Wiz, that's when it starts to becoming a blessing to you. Okay, I'm really looking forward to what there is in there to learn next. It's really a deep dive, and I encourage all of our dealers to use Tint Wiz, and no doubt about it. It's going to save you time, and you're going to up your game. Um, but as far as other brands and everyone else, yes, that keeps the whole industry moving. Up your game. And this is a, has anybody ever heard business in a box? This is a cheat. Tint Wiz is awesome. We're enjoying bringing it in and taking advantage of streamlining our offering and looking better. And I mean, automatic texts and emails to your customers. Hello? Just that alone, right there. Eric, you nailed it.
Well, I
I
appreciate
mean, even for a fat old man, right?
I've been thinking I need to ask you to stand up because you always call yourself a fat old man. You don't look fat. You don't look that old. Like, I don't know how old you are, but how old are you?
57.
That's not that old. I don't know why that's. What age do you start calling yourself an old man so I know when to start referring to
Oh,
myself?
about 10 years ago.
So 47, you become old man
I'm not saying anybody else is old, okay? But
at 9 years.
yeah, maybe it's just part of my charm.
I know, I know. It's like it's the self-deprecation charm.
Okay. Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to get out there today? I know you're going to have endless time on Tuesdays. Tuesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Central, and it's on Facebook, and it's your new podcast. Is there anything you wanted to talk about specifically today that we haven't touched on?
Tell you the truth, no, and I can't think of anything.
Good.
I've enjoyed the conversation. I think I didn't come in with any list of questions or any of that. It's just let it be. If you think we've covered everything, I feel real good. I really do.
Too. I'm really excited for Tuesday. I'm excited to watch and every single Tuesday, and I'm excited for you. And thank you because you are you're a great energy. You're a great person, and I just really appreciate getting to know you, and I appreciate getting to like see you for the first time because now it's no longer just a voice. It's almost like real life.
Almost. Yes. Well, thanks for having me, Eric. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate all you do for the industry. You are a giver at heart. And, that's what it is. That's what it takes. And you're a big inspiration to me, my team. And, I'm just surrounded by great people all the way from HQ. I mean, Jeff Franson, they just leads from the front and all the way down to his people. And I just feel like I'm blessed, and I just want to give that back to everybody. And thank you for being a big, big part of that too. Really.
Thank you, really. And one last thing I want to mention, Texas Tint Masters, the new reality show. That's something we talked about earlier. Carlos barged into the Tint Wisdom earlier, but he does. Their third episode goes live tomorrow, Thursday, on YouTube. It'll be episode number 3. It's on YouTube, Texas Tint Master, so make sure you check it out. And that's on YouTube, also on their Facebook. And then I'm excited to see what whatever continues to happen, how this works itself out into an event that now sounds like there's a new challenger into the arena. I think David was saying the North Carolina connection. And
Nice.
And I don't know. We'll see how this progresses. So make sure you check it out tomorrow. And then Tuesday, B plus All Things Window Film on Facebook. Go to the page now, like it, and then you'll see it on Tuesday.
Yes. Thank you very much for your time.
Likewise,
Appreciate
Bob.
y'all being here.
Bob,
Thanks.
thank you. You have a great
Okay.
night, and thank you everybody for watching. And Bob, best of luck on Tuesday. I'll be watching.
Very good. Appreciate it.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye now.